This is a review on naming compounds. Okay, I want you to tell me the name for AlF3, Joseph. So you got to find it on the periodic table. Where's aluminum? Aluminum is before the little staircase, so this is a metal. And then, what's your other one? Fluorine. So there. So it's a metal and a non-metal. So it's an ionic compound. So you're going to name it with just the name of the cation first. And then for the second one, there's no prefixes for ionic compounds. So you just actually write fluor, but it's not fluorine anymore. It's fluor. Drop the ending and add "ide." Fluoride. Fluoride is a funny spelling. It's spelled with a U. Fluoride. Yeah. Aluminum fluoride. CaBr2. So you have to find calcium. Calcium's over here. And bromine. Bromine. And you don't need to say anything about the charges. You just write calcium bromide. Good. Joseph just asked, why don't you say anything about the charges, like no prefixes? The prefixes are only for the molecular compounds, and this is an ionic compound. Now we have NO2. What's the name of this compound? So we have nitrogen and oxygen. They are both nonmetals, so this is a molecular compound. With the molecular compounds, you need to have the prefixes. So nitrogen doesn't need a prefix, it only has one. And the oxygen has two, so the prefix is going to be di. And it's going to, you drop the ending and add "ide." So nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide. I'm giving you a tricky one. Zinc sulfate. Okay, so zinc is, did you find it? It's blurry. There we go. It's a transition metal, so you're not going to know its charge. The other one is sulfate, which, hint, hint, is not on the periodic table by itself because it's a polyatomic ion. So I'm going to just tell you what that is. So sulfate, polyatomic ion is SO4. So write SO4. And if you were to look up the charge in your book, all right, on page 155, you have the sulfate right there, SO4, and it has a 2- charge. So that means your zinc's going to be a 2+ charge, and you're just going to write it just like that. Joseph is choosing a really fun one for you. Vanadium 5-phosphate. Don't forget the 5 so that they know the charge. So that's a Roman numeral 5 that he's putting in there. I didn't even know where vanadium was, so we were searching for it. It's in the transition metals right there. So you're not going to know its charge unless you tell it in the name. So that's what the 5 is. So that means it's a +5 charge. And then you have a phosphate. Okay, page 155. And the phosphate has a 3- charge. So how are you going to do that, Joseph? Vanadium is a 5. Okay, so Joseph did literally choose like the hardest one on here. So this right here is incorrect. It is not correct. I even looked it up because I thought, no, that can't be. So if you look up the charges, so we know that vanadium has a 5+ charge. So Joseph, write V and then put a +5 charge above it. Good. And then the phosphate, Joseph, go ahead and write the PO4 with a 3- charge. And I'm getting that from your book, and that is, in fact, correct. Now we're going to have to do the crisscross method. So Joseph, circle that 5+ and put it down next to that polyatomic ion. The polyatomic ion has a little 4. It's PO4. So there's already a little 4 right there. Good. Okay, now with the crisscross method and the polyatomic ion, we're going to have to use parentheses. So Joseph's going to write V right here, and then you're going to bring that 3 down. So V3. And then you're going to write PO4, and you're going to put it all in parentheses because that's the polyatomic ion that works as a unit. Nope, just around the polyatomic ion. So put the other parentheses right here. Yes. Okay. Then you can bring the 5 down and put it as a subscript for the whole polyatomic ion. So you're going to put a 5 right here. And that's your answer for the super complicated compound that Joseph chose. Hopefully that helps.